teacher is the most powerful person on this earth. That you people are the true leaders, and because of you, I'm here.
Hello and a very warm welcome to Great Principles. I am Seema Choria. I bring to you another iconic figure from the world of Indian academia. Be so good, they can't ignore you, says Steve Martin. Our guest today has made this her motto and execute this on a daily basis in her role as a school leader. She meets and greets students every morning at the school gates with a warm smile and love that shines through her caring nature. And her students flock to the school like bees to a honeycomb. I would love to try and travel back to my school days to witness this one moment. Wouldn't you guys, all my viewers out there, won't you feel the same when you have your school principal greeting you at the gate? So on this note, let us welcome our guest today, Ms. Jyoti Dhaya, Principal, DAV School, Faridabad. Welcome to Great Principles, ma'am. It's an honor to have you here.
Thank you so very much for having me here, Seema. And thank you again for such kind words for me. I don't know whether actually it should be for me, but since you have said, so thank you so very much. Thank you.
So to know you better, ma'am, please, we would request you to take us back to your childhood days, your once upon a times, our childhood days and has a greater impact on what we choose to be as an adult. And your story relates to be that of choosing as a teacher. So what fascinated you to accept this profession?
First of all, I belong to a family where I've seen many educationists at home. So my mom herself, she has been my biggest inspiration. And I saw that how parents and colleagues and students admired her for her dedication. So from there, it started, ticking into my mind that if you can change somebody's life, I think you are the best person in this world. So since my childhood, I had seen people, being so nice to her. And those who were very successful in their profession, they used to come back to her. Ma'am, do you remember? I'm from that batch. So it used to give me nice goosebumps. And I thought, yeah, when I grow up, it has to be like this only. And this is how with age and with my schooling getting completed, my college, I was very clear. And I was very clear that I wanted, the notion has been that people who don't get anywhere, they get into education sector. I mean, it's a very, very, not a welcome idea, but in my case, I was very clear. I saw the brighter side of this profession. And then this is how where I am. And I'm pretty happy, very contented. And I'm very, very thankful to the Almighty also for giving me this opportunity to serve the humanity.
Absolutely, ma'am. I really like the point where you mentioned that it is the only profession which help you to change so many lives. You are the one who mold them. So Absolutely. This is what ma'am chose to be, and this is what she is, and she's loving it to the core. Yeah. So going ahead, ma'am, 3 decades is a long time of a life, and you have dedicated these years to education. So we all speak about the hardship challenges we face. So I want you to tell us 3 good experiences that would motivate an aspiring teacher to choose this as a career, not by chance, but choice.
Absolutely. First experience I would share when I started working. I still remember my first joining was on 23rd of July, 1990. And my director calls me on 24th and he tells me that there is a group of 25 students of class 12 and you are going with them to, we had gone in Rajasthan, Mount Abu. So he said, you are taking these students onto the trip of Mount Abu. I was a little scared and I was skeptical. So I don't even know them. He said, if you're an educator in true sense, when you will be back, you'll be a different person. I had no other option but to say, yes, boss. So my family was also surprised that you have just joined 24 hours before. And how come you are going? There's so many others. I shared with them, there are many others who are going, but even I'm a part of that group. So we went. It was a trip for 5 days. And those 5 days, they changed my life. By the time I was back in my hometown, I knew each and every student so closely. I knew their problems and they could confide in me. And they were looking forward for a solution for such a young teacher who had just joined, a couple of days before. So they were looking forward, and whatever I was talking to them, some of the points they were like, ma'am, this is what we wanted to listen. This is what you don't know what you have done to us. So when I came back from there, it gave me that confidence that yes, I think I did a right thing by joining this noble profession. So that was, and those students, that group of 25 students, some now most of them have got married and settled in different parts of the world. But you will be glad to know that majority of them are still in touch with me. Wow. So many years have gone by, and they know where I am, what I do, and we communicate. And Teachers' Day, New Year, I mean, we receive such heart melting messages that you feel that, oh my God, this is what it is. And my second incident, when I was, it's about like 10 years back, only 10 to 12, I felt sick, and I was really sick. And at that time, I was again teaching 11th and 12th, and I used to teach biology. I never came to know that my students created a community for me. They, they kept a track of my health. When I never used to sit on a chair and teach, I was always like standing. That active mode, it really helps you. So when I entered the class, there was a chair. I said, who kept it? He said, ma'am, many a times we feel that too much of drawing. So, ma'am, we'll listen to you. Today, you must sit and explain us. Here is the board, here is the paper and pen. We'll just sit next to you. They never made me feel that I am not in a good situation to do my responsibility or to take up my responsibility as I used to take before. So that was again a second moment that my students, they cared so much for me. And till date, they remember that time and they always pray for my well-being. That was the second incident. And third incident, when I was promoted as a principal, and I came here in 2010, again, 19 July 2010. So when I got promoted here, my students who were like whom I had taught before, they were not aware of it. So they came to know, they searched for me and they came here to invite me for their wedding and for their baby showers. So that point, one of my students, he's really doing great. So one comment that he gave, his name is Dr. Rajiv Basla. He said, ma'am, you know one thing, you are a change maker in our lives. Whatever I am today, ma'am, it's because of you. I felt so satisfied. And I was like, now these are the reasons that why, if somebody is passionate about this profession, should come into this. There's one more reason. I realize in my 31 years of service, teacher is the most powerful person on this earth. I quote it. Why? Because wherever you will move, some or the other, your student will be there in that profession. So any connect, anywhere you have touched their life, they will always remember you. They'll always admire you and they will always value you.
So to all the aspiring teachers out there, ma'am has shared a very beautiful thought that teachers are undercover superheroes. So, so there cannot be a bigger experience, as ma'am shared, bigger satisfaction than this when so many people are praying for you, when so many people are thinking about your well-being and remembering you in their good times also. During our tough times, we recall everyone, but, remembering someone in our good times and telling them that it's because of you that my life has changed, it's something really commendable, ma'am, and that you have earned it. And that is what every teacher should earning.
Absolutely.
Yes, so it was a very beautiful, wonderful experiences which ma'am has shared with us. It actually, gives a feeling that, wow, what a beautiful profession is this.
Thank you.
Yeah. So going ahead, ma'am, as in this long journey, you have been associated with this DAV school for more than a decade now in various roles and capacity, and now as a school head. So how do you lead your team to become leaders in their own rights?
First of all, I've been associated with the DAV since 2001.
Right.
So it's like 2 decades, exactly 2 decades.
2 decades.
And for first decade, I was teaching again. I was working as a PGT biology. And then I was promoted and transferred to the current branch where I am. I personally felt that I was also given that space, confidence, that yes, you are my valuable team member and you have the ability to take charge and perform your responsibilities independently. No in between poking that you should do this way, that way. Nothing of that sort had happened. So the similar kind of belief and thought process I have, that if you have a team to work with, delegate the responsibilities and do not interfere in between. Let them get the feel that this is their own baby. So when they are performing independently, and you just keep in watch, or you just follow them wherever they are taking you. So the end result is always very, very amazing, very, very amazing. You'll be happy to know that from my team only, there are many of my team members, those who have gone out from they have branched out basically from DAV. They have joined another group and they are doing fantastically well. And secondly, education. What I have done over here, after joining here, I realized there's so much can be done when it comes to education of your faculty. If they are masters and B.Ed, should not stop over there. So many of my team members have done MPhil. They have enrolled themselves for PhD. Many of them have done MEd. And majority of them have taken the your MOOC courses or Coursera or edX. So from my side, I keep on motivating them that you people are the true leaders. And because of you, I'm here. So this is how I work with my DAV family.
Oh, wonderful, ma'am. Because being a leader, one cannot perform in silos. You need to be with your team. And a true leader is one who empowers the team, who helps them to reach to their zenith. That is what a true leader is. And we are very proud to have a true leader today here with us. So thank you so much, ma'am, for connecting here with us today. So going ahead, ma'am, it is your vision to eliminate any existing achievement gap between advantaged and less advantaged students. So here we would like to ask you what you're doing differently in your school to fulfill your vision.
That's a very, 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 very nice question and very close to my heart, because COVID has given us a very, very clear picture about the existence of this gap. Those who could manage the laptops and the internet, uninterrupted lines, Wi-Fi, they were perfectly okay. They could blend with this new technology very easily, and this online learning became a part of their routine. But many of our students, they are not in a position to buy laptops, so they satisfied themselves with the purchases of mobiles. Again, mobile has got a small screen, so it is not all that study through that mobile for 3 to 4 hours. And some of these students who could not, they belong to that category that their parents are not in a position to purchase even mobile. So what we did, that we started having that neighborhood help. So what we used to do, that in the morning time there are classes, so those who have the gadgets, they can attend. And then, say for example, there is an X child who's living in the neighborhood of Y. Y has a gadget, but X doesn't. So what we used to do, that we used to have the remedial classes in the evening. And these remedial classes, you share that gadget so that there is no loss of education. And teachers have been so kind, so nice, that even they have helped their children, by motivating them, identifying where the second-hand mobile is available. You can buy from there. You can go for some iPad, or like, I have an extra, let me give that. So as a team, as a one family, we have come out together to help all these students, and we have tried our level best to make them feel at the same level, not undermining anyone because of lack of facilities which they have at home, or not valuing anyone who has got all the facilities at home. So disparity, we have tried to remove the disparity when it comes to the accessibility of technology. We, from our end, we have tried a lot, and there are many parents who moved to their villages during the COVID time that happened last year. They moved and they did not come back. So there also we help them. Okay, fine. Do let us know which phone is there with your uncle or with somebody with whom we can connect and, you know, share the information with you. So everybody put together, we have tried our level best to make them as comfortable as possible. Repetition of content was not a problem. I'm so thankful to my team. They must have repeated contents as many times as demanded by these students.
This is, ma'am, there is actually a tangible learning loss for those, as you rightly said, those who didn't have the facilities of internet and the gadgets. But, not every teacher, not every school I witnessed when I meet so many school leaders daily, but not every school has told me that teachers have taken additional classes, because it's like doing repetitive work over and over and over and again. So it's not even easy for teachers, but hats off to you. Your teachers have come out as an unsung heroes in this tough time, one of the COVID warriors out there. Those are ensuring that learning must go on. Otherwise, imagine entire 2 years without learning for children. What would be their future?
I'm so thankful to my team. As I said before, I am here because of them.
Absolutely, ma'am. And a team is definitely motivated by a great leader like you. So they definitely count on you, and and you count on them. That is a two-way process, and we can see the results.
Thank you. Thank you.
You beautifully covered the gaps which occurred here. And I think every school must try and practice this, helping that neighborhood theory was fabulous that ma'am explained, making even children understand, how important it is to help, to share, your small, this gesture will make someone learn something good. So that's
absolutely. Initiative is that only to spread, sharing is caring.
Wonderful initiative and successfully implemented this, ma'am. So hats off to your team. A big congratulations to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So going ahead, ma'am, there have been a lot of awards. There's a list which I have here, which have been bestowed to you, like Shiksha Shiromani Award, Award of Citation, Guru Dronacharya Award, Inspiring Educators Award, then Aspiring Leadership Education Award, from Peace Square International Schools. So there is a long list which have been given to you for appreciating your work and reforms in education. So I would like to ask you here, according to you, what is the foremost requisite quality to succeed as an educator?
First of all, you need to be compassionate, you need to be passionate, and you need to have patience. These are the three key words which I follow in my life, that, in case you love your profession, what will happen? You will try to go out of the way to ensure that the things are done. And without a team, a leader is nothing. So whatever recognition I have got, it is all because of my team, because of their hard work, because of their belief in my thoughts, their belief in the collective vision that we have, and their belief in having a common mission of the institution and to follow that. So it's all, I give credit to my team, and I am really, really thankful to them, because whatever recognition comes to the institution or the team leader, it actually belongs to the team, not the individual principal.
Absolutely. So once again, ma'am is here taking her team along with her in all her success. And three keywords which ma'am suggests, three key features which every educator must possess is compassion, be compassionate, be passionate, and have patience. Yes.
Yes.
So On this note, we'll go ahead, and this makes me to reach to the very interesting segment of the show, which is called Rapid Fire Round. Here, we will be gathering some fun facts about ma'am. Ma'am, you have to answer in one word only, and maximum a sentence I would permit.
All right. I hope they're easy to answer.
Absolutely, ma'am. So here goes the first one. Name your favorite subject at school.
Biology.
Biology.
Yes.
What is your leisure time activity?
I love to listen to music. And I try my hand in cooking also. I'm not a great cook, but whatever I cook, I enjoy eating that, and my family also enjoys that.
So it has to be yum, definitely. That is why
Thank you.
All right, next question. Who is your favorite sports celebrity?
Sports celebrity, if you talk about now, it is MS Dhoni. And if of my student time, die-hard fan of Sunil Gavaskar.
Right. So Sunil Gavaskar sir and Dhoni. So ma'am is a cricket fan, I guess.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So what makes you laugh?
Basically, I'm a very, very happy person at heart. I can be happy without any reason. And I enjoy playing with the kiddos, you know, kindergarten. And anything nice that is coming, anything funny that is happening. I mean, I laugh very, very freely. I do not limit myself to one situation, but I'm basically a happy person who enjoys laughing.
No, it is
you are alive, you are happy.
Absolutely, you know, ma'am, it is said that laughing is the best medicine. And yes, so everyone should be always be cheerful and laughing. So going ahead, last question of this segment, tell us your favorite song.
It's a very old song, I must say. I don't remember the name of the movie, but it has been shot on Jitendra. And I can share Ye Kaun Chitraकार Hai. I love that song. I love because I connect that song with my profession. Magic, basically nature's magic. The song indicates nature's magic. Neela neeli dhara, suna rahi hai kuch katha. Ye kaun chitraकार hai, ye kaun chitraकार. Sung by Mukesh.
Mukesh. All right. Wonderful.
Love that.
You love that song. Great. So it was really great to know ma'am on this front also. This just, you know, makes our conversation a little lighter, and even students like to know what our principal ma'ams have, you know, choices personally. So going ahead, ma'am, you chose to be a teacher and you are a leading educationist, inspiring many others to make teaching as their career. So is there any school leader who inspires you?
Yes. The first, I mean, I would be naming more than one. My mother, first person. She has been a school leader in with the government of Rajasthan, and highly valued, intellectual, highly valued. And then when I was in class 3rd, I remember one of my teachers' name was Vandana Sapra ma'am. Vandana Sapra ma'am used to teach us English. She was the one who, along with my family, inculcated interest in language. She was the one, I used to admire her, the way she used to teach in English short stories. And when she's talking about a tiger coming, her expressions used to change. And when she used to talk about a cat, and her eyes used to, you know, twinkle. So I used to find her very, very, you know, expressive. And I used to admire her, and till date, I admire her. I you know, want to be like her, although I will never be, because she has been my teacher. So, and when it comes to as a principal, when I was in school, my principal, Mr. A.K. Vashne, I admired him a lot. One story I will share with you in 2 sentences. I was in class 5. So we used to have morning prayer. Nowadays, the trend has changed, but the entire school used to be there on the playground, and a morning prayer used to happen. And we all were asked to, you know, close the eyes and hold your hands like this. So, and I was a very playful girl. So everybody, so what I did, I just, you know, opened my one eye and looking like this, you know, is somebody keeping the eye open or closed? So suddenly I get a pat on my head. So, and a very, very, you know, mild voice comes out, close your eyes. And I closed them, but I saw that my principal was standing. And I was like, you are gone today because your principal has caught you. After that, my principal called me. I was so scared that immediately after entering his office, I was very, very apologetic. I said, I'm so sorry, sir. I'm really sorry. I shouldn't have done it. He listened to me and then he told me one thing only. He said, Jyoti, I know you are a wonderful student of mine. So that made me like this. He said, but remember one thing, there are many, many places where you can keep your eyes open. But whenever you are remembering God, be honest in your prayers. This prayer is for you. So never ever cheat yourself. That was the time. And that, message or that learning which I got from him still remains with me alive.
As I was just talking to you, I got anecdotes of my own school days, getting the same pat on my head, doing something similar. So,
Okay.
And still, and then we remember what is the importance of closing our eyes with our heads bowed down? Why should we bow down our head and all? We all have this fascination of what everyone does when everyone is closing eyes. So, yes. I recall that days of mine. And yes, ma'am, similarly, teachers, they are, I think they're magicians, they are storytellers, they are actors. They can make you fall in love with subject, as you said about your English teacher.
Yes.
They have this trait. Any boring subject with the teacher, just make it wonderful. Children fall in love with it. Yeah. So to all the wonderful teachers, educator, parents, students out there, every subject is interesting if you enjoy teaching it and you enjoy learning it together.
Absolutely.
So going ahead, this brings me to the last question of the show, which is also called viewer's choice question. Okay. So here we have it. Should we only concentrate on academic achievements of our children or boost their confidence wholeheartedly and allow them to choose curricular activities as their career options?
Very, very apt and in today's scenario, very relevant question. See, I do not advocate for only academia. I do not advocate at all. I personally feel that a student should be given an opportunity to experience all the platforms of life, talking about co-scholastics as well, and let the child choose whichever way the child feels that I'm going to be the best in that, or I will be able to take it as my career also. Here, you'll be surprised to know that in my career of 3 decades, I have come across many students who are engineer by profession, like by qualification. They are engineers, but they are model coordinators. They are digital photographers. Okay, so they have changed their profession. So it's very important. A child should be given that freedom to make the co-scholastic areas of interest as their career options too. I strongly believe in that. Leave them open. Do not push them to what you want them to become. Give them an opportunity to decide for themselves what they want to become.
Absolutely. So very strong lesson manners shared here for parents. Please let your children choose their own career path. It's okay. They will make mistakes, but mistakes are the biggest lesson that we learn. So yes, we must give liberty to us, to children, to learn and choose what they want to be. Yes. So this was Jyoti Dahiya ma'am today with us, sharing her valuable insights on how passionate teachers can create a difference in education. So ma'am, you are an example of passion, focus, integrity, and strong work ethics that each professional must aspire, acquire, and retain. So thank you so much, ma'am, for your time here, ma'am. You're so down to earth and so nurturing. It was really, really wonderful to have a conversation with you.
Thank you so very much, Seema. It was very, very delightful talking to you. You took me so many years back, and it has been such a wonderful journey so far. And I'm sure that the journey of an educationist will continue to shine, spread smiles, and enlighten the path of our students. Thank you very much for having me here once again, Seema. Take care.